hard, rolling deep, can't stand on their feet. The fear on the grip, hands in the go funny pot. Sticky fingers, palm looking, the block stay hot. Side rack, shadow boxing, swinging at the air, undefeated in delusion. Reality don't care, Jupiter creeping, got the whole crew shook. But it'll vibes, got a band from the book, Josh Block got the hell. Bottle in his clutch, captain of a ship that's been sinking too much. Over Navy waddling, can't step to the throne. Worry, drop the mic, let them reap what they've sown.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the show. KingCobraJFS is making another one of his chemical concoctions, so let's see what he's got in store for us today.
Yo, check it, YouTube! That ramen noodle food hack is pretty fucking banging, son, and we're about to make some bomb-ass mead.
Right from the rip, you gotta love the guy's energy, man. Like, no lolcow knows how to just set up a mood and just kick off a video the way the Cobes does, man. Seriously.
It's your boy back at it with another video. Just sitting here munching on my ramen noodle food hack. The 4 meats in that with the spices, and I add in the seasoning. Ooh, that is fire, son. I'm gonna take an entire bag of Wither's Original chewy caramels. I unwrapped all of them in the pack. Wrapper free, stick them in the jar. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make this happen, Captain. Like I said, original caramels. Take our pure cane sugar. Need about 2 cups of that. So I did an entire bag of these chewy caramel candies. 2 cups of sugar, and then about drain the box.
I cannot imagine that chewy caramel candies that you get in the store are something like individually wrapped in a bag like that are something that you can include in making any type of alcohol, even homemade. Like, he couldn't even get, like, I don't know, actual raw caramel or something like that. Like, I'm not gonna pretend to be the expert on this process, but the way, you know how even if you're uneducated on something, sometimes you can see somebody doing it in the wild and just know that it's wrong. Like, you can have never played baseball in your life, but when somebody like pitches a ball wrong, like, you can just tell that they're bad at it visually looking at them. I also love I love the Bud Light in the background, like he's been pre-gaming making this video. Just everything about this is fantastic.
It did not take long. Store this up. Now we need on top of our caramel candies and our 2 cups of sugar. We're going to need some local and unfiltered honey. And while I'm making some apple silk mead, I'm going to be drinking a Bud Light.
He's almost making my point for me there. So you're using like the dollar store caramel candies, but then you got the good honey. You were so close, my guy. Like, you had the right idea for half of it.
Making / drinking alcohol for 21 and up.
Cobra said, drink responsibly.
They're out of the Royal Gala apples, so I used organic galas instead. I don't think it'll make that much of a difference. This is our local and raw and unfiltered honey from Colorado. Now we're going to dump the entire thing. Oh yeah, pop that right off. That's good honey.
Cobra holds up things that he opens to the camera the way that I hold up food that I open to my cat, just to let them know that, like, it wasn't canned food and they don't need to try to steal it from me. Also, it skeeves me out so bad that he wears all those rings, and they're all like designed rings with all these etches and crevices in them while he's cooking. Like, I don't know, man, if you put rubbing alcohol into a bowl and you dropped all those rings in there, it would be like brown and flaky within minutes. It's got to be, those rings have to be nasty.
Pour the entire thing of honey into the jar with the caramels and the sugar. If there's any excess in there, just take a little bit of water and swish it around the bottle and clean out as much as we can. Now I ain't gonna need to pour a little bit of our main ingredients in there to stir this around because this honey and sugar and I try to like dissolve it a little bit in the apple juice. It makes for a nicer mix, I would think. Now, have I made homemade hooch before? Yes, I have. And every time I've had a good batch, it was usually with my apple silk mead, so pretty straightforward, man.
I think I've mentioned this on the channel before, but to anybody who's new, when I was in college, I used to be a prison guard. It was my job while I was getting myself through college. It was like the only way for somebody with no education at all in my area to make like adult money. And we would occasionally, it was kind of rare at the jail that I worked at because it was pretty high security, so it was really hard for them to get the stuff that they needed. But we would very, very occasionally find hooch in somebody's cell or like half made, like not even finished, like prison wine. And usually the way that you could discover it was that even just walking by the outside of the cell with the door closed, you could smell it. Like you could smell the smell of like just rotting, gross fruit. Usually they were making it with like apples and some pears and stuff like that. Now they couldn't get their hands obviously on all the ingredients that Cobra has here, and they definitely, some of them they could, like the candy and stuff like that, but they weren't using that. But just with the things that they had to make it with in the little basins that they had and the little buckets and stuff like that, the smell would be, I mean, overwhelming. Like you could smell it from the catwalk. So for him to be making it with all these additional ingredients in that absolutely gigantic jar, I cannot imagine what the inside of his house has to smell like for the gestation period of this hooch that he's making. I really can't. And that's not to say that Cobra's house is normally, smells like fresh linen, but it's gotta be, it'll probably hit you from the street is what I'm trying to say.
And the juice we're going to make it out of is Mott's 100% apple juice. So it's the good shit. No preservatives or high fructose corn syrups in making. I can't remember the last time I fucking made a batch of mead, and I've been wanting to make one for ages. But that Halloween batch that I did last year was so terrible, I was just like, ugh. So we'll see how this one goes. It's just a little bit of water right there to that point. And we're going to go ahead and shake that water up with the honey in there. And we're going to pour it in there just so we don't waste any of the honey that we're using for our mead. Go ahead and dump that in there. It's pretty cleaned out, that locals.
See, when he poured that in, the texture and the consistency and just the way that the look of that changed was not that was not appealing.
Raw and unfiltered honey is where it's at. Weather's original caramel chewy candies. And then of course we're gonna need, excuse me, I'm fucking burped, a splash of this juice. I'm gonna pour just a little bit in the bottom so we can dissolve the sugar in the honey, And that is gonna be the base of our fucking mead, is this no sugar added 100% matcha juice. I mean, making homemade wine is pretty basic shit, Now, this spoon has seen every batch of mead that I've made.
Okay, so he just said something there. He said, this spoon has assisted me with every batch of mead that I've made. One, it's a wooden spoon, so it's already definitely like soaking up a little bit of it. And two, just like I mentioned about the rings earlier, and my point is being proven by the state of his nail, his thumbnail in the background of this image that I have it paused on right now. Do we think that that spoon has ever been cleaned ever, or is a little bit of each batch going into each new batch? I feel like we know the answer to that.
And the thing of it is, when I go to leave, the apple chunks in here like I do, I want to only leave them in there for 12 to 13 days. Then when I take them out, And by taking it out, you want to filter. You know what I'm saying? Like you filter the liquid from this jar into a clean jar, so to speak, after about 12 days. Yeah, after about fucking 12 days of this shit, you want to filter out the apples and stuff. And right now, those caramel candies are going to dissolve into the mead. So you want to go to filter it in like 12 to 13 days. All of the fucking caramel will be dissolved in the liquid. And what have you. Now, let's be discreet about this, of course, but...
You know, for all the shit that I talk on Cobra, I gotta say, at least the guy is actually doing something. Like, when I look at the Nova streams where he sits there and pretends like he's gonna make a paracord for a half hour and then does nothing but shit talk and rage quit, and then you look at the Cyrax streams and all he does is stand there in front of the camera and tell you about how big things are coming and he's gonna make all this music he never makes and he's gonna race all these cars he'll never drive, and so many of them just sit around and do nothing at all. I will say, it makes a Cobra stream automatically more entertaining, just for the virtue that he's like actually standing there doing something that he's doing it poorly, but he like vaguely knows what he's talking about enough that he can at least narrate, and there's not all this dead air. It's crazy that like all the state of all the other lolcows is just such nonsense all the time that they're making Cobra look good. Like I feel like I'm comfortable saying like these days, I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. It could be insane, but like June 8th, 2025, Cobra is like my favorite, currently least problematic lolcow.
Here's the thing of it. My autistic ass is not responsible if you get grounded because your ass gets caught making homemade hooch. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a very cheap and easy way to make homemade alcohol. That's why I'm doing it and I have it made.
My autistic ass is not going to be responsible might be my new catchphrase. He's getting me today, man. He's getting me, for real.
I haven't made a jar of mead in quite some time, and mead is basically honey wine. So it's all coming together pretty smoothly. You got the stickers off the apples. You know what, these fucking apples, I'm just going to cut them in half. Fuck it. Stickers are off. Wash my fingers. And
No cutting board. Not even a plate. Just right on the counter. Which again, not to just beat a dead horse, but like when's the last time that's been wiped down? Like look at all the crumbs across the rest of it.
cut them in half like, until like, you know, like that. You just drop them into the jar, man. And we're going to do that with both of these apples. I'm going to cut them in half. Oh, just like that. Beautiful. I'm going to cut these little slices into easier to manage chunks.
Once again, I'm not the expert. I'm not the master chef here, but are they supposed to be in like gigantic chunks like that? The hooch I've seen, I mean, they were not. They were like dicing it. I don't know. Maybe they were wrong, and he knows what he's talking about. But between that and then his nails, my God, I'm not feeling confident about this mead, guys. I'm really not.
You know, when you're making homemade alcohol, it's important that you want to give your yeast a healthy, you know, say, environment to breathe. And thus far, this is actually beautiful. What's going to happen is the yeast that I pour in here is going to go ham on that raw fruit and all the honey and the caramel, you know. It's fucking going to be beautiful. I mean, you see me making it here, you know, la-di-da. Let's add some more of that Mott's 100% juice. Because for the next 12 to 13 days, the apple in this mead will give the yeast a proper send-off, it will. I mean, yeah, we could do a little bit more no, before we pour the yeast in there, we could do a little bit more apple juice in there, just a little bit more. This is why I bought two jugs. Better to have it, not need it, to need it, not have it, you know, kind of thing. And, yeah, do make homemade alcohol at your own fucking convenience. Yeah, let's crack open another Mott's. Just a little bit more. I don't want to do too much. You don't want to do too much because you want to fucking leave some room at the top. Because when you're fucking mixing in the goddamn yeast, it gets all foamy, you know, and then it gets into your fucking airlock, and it's a pain in the arse, and, you know. So I'm thinking this is looking pretty nice. Oh, fucking hell, I dropped the cap. I'm thinking this is looking pretty fucking sweet, YouTube. This will make for a nice base for some apple silk mead. You see the caramels and the sugar and the honey at the bottom. Oh, it's gonna fucking dissolve.
Those apples are so gigantic. He didn't core them, which I kind of feel like you should. And 12 to 13 days doesn't sound like nearly long enough for all of the things in there to do what he wants them to do.
You're giving it real fruit instead of just sugar and processed, There's the moss that I'm using. Enjoying some of the delicious ramen food hack I had earlier that I did. It's fucking bloody good. It's got 4 meats. Yeah, it's delicious. Anyways, YouTube, I have this fruit
Little subtle
turbo
belly
yeast.
scratch right there.
This is some of the yeast my YouTube fans have sent me. I've made wine before, so I know what I'm doing to a point. And
I love the confidence with the immediate qualifier afterwards. He goes, I know what I'm doing to a point.
pour this, a little scoop of this, 18%. So by the time the wine gets done making, it should be a bloody 18%. So I'll grab our cup. You don't need a whole bloody cup of the yeast, mind you. You really don't need a whole fucking cup of it. Just enough. Just a fucking enough. Yeah, that should do it. I got this turbo yeast. Right there, look at that. That should be enough yeast to fucking do the trick. Oh, yeah, I poured a little bit in there. Here comes a lot of people's favorite fucking parts, Pouring that yeast right into our homemade mead jar. Look at that. I haven't made mead in a hot minute. Now I'm gonna take that. Yeah, that thing. I'm gonna fucking stir it around. 1 second. I'm gonna take all that yeast and just kind of stir it around with the fruit. Now the idea, YouTube, after we do this,
There is a film at the bottom of that thing made of, like, I think the sugar and the caramel candies that is just not moving with the rest of that.
get it all jarred up, ready to go. We're gonna let this mead rest for 12 to 13 days to allow the fruit and the juice and everything to just do its thing. That'll allow the caramels to melt. And we're gonna let this age. I'm gonna stir this up here. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. Yeah, that's gonna make for some fucking fantastic mead, man. I want to put the yeast and the spoon up, and then we're gonna cap it. I haven't made a jar of mead in God knows how long, so I'm like, yeah, what time I did that. And you want to have like a way to for your thing to burp, because all that yeast is gonna foam up. See, I left a little bit of room at the top for it to burp a little bit. I didn't completely fill it. Put this in the sink. And we have officially 1 jar of apple silk mead being brewed. Now you want to let this sit for 12 days, and then you want to take and filter out all the fruit.
It smells, it burps, and it's about to sit in Cobra's house for 12 days. He might as well call this mead Jessica.
That's in there, and just drain the liquid that's been mixed with the sugar, the honey, and the caramel chewy candies. And then after you filter this into a clean jar, you let it sit for another month, and then you have alcohol, basically. I mean, it's not that difficult. The YouTube fans have been like, when's Cobra going to do another batch of mead? I think that needs some water inside of it, because that's... Yeah, hold up 1 second. That's the only thing we're missing, YouTube.
I wonder if we'll ever get an update about this. I feel like sometimes he makes these things and, a month down the line he'll make a video where he's actually drinking it and we get a review, and then other times they disappear into the ether. But I guess we'll see. But that's our coverage for today. Once again, not too much crazy drama going on in the Lolcow universe, so we've been able to actually take a step back, make some short videos, and cover some more chill stuff that's been going on, like Cobra making mead. So that's going to be everything for today. If you guys like the content, please like and subscribe. Thank you for stopping by the channel again, and until next time, you guys have a good one.